Hello everyone, I'm Amir Hossein. Welcome to this new training video. In this video, we want to modify the values of the whole area of the smallest WRF's subdomain or nested domain. Let's say if we have a parent domain and a subdomain or nested domain, this white square, we modify the subdomain and accordingly the parent domain will be modified over the area of the subdomain or over the area of this white rectangle or nested domain. Or if we have a parent domain and two nested domains, we modify the smallest nested domain and then the other parent domains will be modified accordingly. So let's start. The application we use for modifying WRF input data is called WRFTaylor. For getting WRFTaylor, just search for it, WRFTaylor, and I also provide the link to WRFTaylor in the description of the video, and you can clone it by this way. I'm not going to clone it because I have already cloned it before, so I navigate into the WRFTaylor's directory. I'm inside the WRFTaylor directory. It has a name list. I open the name list. Inside the name list you can see several different sections and which you can provide your input data and parameters. For example, the first section is for input data. You should provide your input data, and the other sections, each section is related to a specific task. Go and find the section which is called, the title of the section is modified by the whole smallest domain. So we're going to use this section, modify by the whole smallest domain. So before that, let me see what input data we have here. We have two kinds of input data, WRF domain file or geofile, and WRF emissions, WRFchem emissions data. We have also three files which are related to WRF emissions data. So let me work with WRF domain. Let me open one of them to see what we have inside this file. Number one, or parent domain. Let's say we want to this is green fraction variable, and it has values over different months. This is the parent domain, and also this is the nested domain or subdomain for green fraction. You can see it's this area is parts of the parent domain, is inside the parent domain. Let's say we want to change or modify month number 6 of this subdomain, and to see what happens, and to use WRFTaylor to modify it. So go to WRF, open name list of WRFTaylor, open name list, and in this section I put the name of the variable which I'm going to tailor or modify. It is green fraction. Let me see what was the exact name of this green fraction here. I put its name, green fraction, remove the point at the end, and the month number 6, I'm going to change the month number 6. How can I change it? I change it like this. I want to replace it with this variable. Let me open it again. Let me open the file again. Inside the file we have these variables. I want to make a polynomial with this variable erode. So I go and put erode multiplied by 2 plus, these are just sample or example equations or polynomials. You can I'm just showing you how you can modify or tailor your data. There isn't any logic behind this polynomial. I'm just showing you how you can do the task. And here we also have another variables. Let me choose height. This is height, and the name is HGT_M plus height and minus, let's say, 2. This is the polynomial, so I'm going to replace green fraction, the whole green fraction, with this polynomial. So you should be careful that these polynomials, it consists of 2 variables. So here you should specify their levels. The erode variable, it's a 4-dimensional variable, so for the first dimension you put the right level for it. You must be sure how many dimensions or how many levels your variable has, so you can specify the exact level of your variable. I put it 1. Also I put for height 1 because height is 3-dimensional. It doesn't have any level. So for a variable, 3-dimensional variable which doesn't have any level, you just put 1. And okay, but for erodes, let me check it again. For erode variable, it has actually 2 levels. You can see it has 2 levels. So let me change it number 2. I want to use number 2 as the level of erode. So I enable it. I just put 1 here to enable this section. And if any other section is enabled, you should disable it. I go here and disable this variable, so because the previous section modified by bounding box, it was the previous section that we used, so we disable it and enable this new section. I save it and I run. Before running it, I forgot to provide the input data. Real path geo, copy the path to your input data, open namelist again, go to the first section, and here remove the previous input data and put your new input data. Here it should be number 2 because it's for the second domain. Number 1 and number 2, and also this number, it should be changed to 2 because we have 2 input data, not 3 input data. So now everything seems to be okay. I save it and I run WRFTaylor. Okay, these are the messages. The smallest domain has been tailored and domain 1 has been tailored, or domain or the parent domain. I opened your number 1 or the parent domain. I open green fraction. I set the range. The range has been changed. I want to change it to something logical or rational for it. 22. One. I should check the number in the original file to see the ranges of this variable. The range is 0.7. This is the range. 0.7. So minimum is 0 and maximum is 0.7. Okay, and this is the first month, second month, third, fourth, fifth, and 6 months, and you can see here that this is the location or area of the subdomain or nested domain. You can see that this area has been modified inside the parent domain. Okay, let me check the subdomain. I open subdomain and range 0, 1. You can see that this is the subdomain, that it also has been modified. How can it be modified, or how could it be modified? I show you again inside the section. This is the polynomial that the modification is based on. So instead of green fraction, we put this polynomial, erode multiplied by 2 plus height minus 2. So you could modify your WRF domains accordingly. Let me try emissions data. WRF chem, I copy it, and one, two, I have 3 emissions file, and number 2, number 3, and I have 3 emissions file. I go here. Let me show you what inside this file is. Let's say I want to modify this variable ENO. This is a gas, and I want to modify it over the smallest domain. So I put its name here, E underline NO, and I want to make it 0. How can I make it 0? You can do that by this way, ENO multiplied by 0. So it makes the emissions to 0. It makes it 0, all the emissions in the subdomain, which is the third domain. So I change it to 1, and I have only one variable, so only one variable, and change it to 1 because it has one level, not more than one level. I copy it and I run WRFTaylor. Okay, the smallest domain has been tailored, domain 2 and domain 1 has been tailored. I open it, number 3, and NO, this is not NO, ENO, and you can see that all the values are 0 here. All the values in the subdomain in the smallest subdomain or nested domain are 0. But if I open the second domain, NO, there is if I make it a little larger, there should be some area here. The area inside of this area, inside of this domain, has been set to 0. Okay, and let me open the parent domain. And same happened for it. Before that, let me open the second domain again to see, to be sure that this modification has been happened. NO, and I want to open the original file. Where is the original file? ENO. Yeah. Okay, you can see that this is Tehran, and this is Tehran area in the original file, and this is Tehran in the modified file. And you can see that the area around Tehran, which is the smallest subdomain, has been set to 0. And by this way we removed emissions, or we set emission to 0 in our input data, and now we can run with customized data. So you can do this approach, you can use this approach in several different WRF input data and make different simulations.